fantasy fans? As always, I'm Shay from the channel Zachary Shay, and today I'm bringing you a good old-fashioned book review, and I'm going to be reviewing Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman.
An hour and a half earlier, I'd been certain I was about to die, and now I was aboard some sort of yacht from another planet, ready to be interviewed on an intergalactic talk show.
Okay.
Donut said the moment Lexus left the room. She started to frantically clean herself.
Let me do all the talking unless Odette asks a question directly of you. I just can't believe it. I'm so excited.
Just be careful, okay?
All right, so instead of using my normal voiceover sound bites, I chose to just give you some good old-fashioned Jeff Hayes because no one can really do this. I'm not going to embarrass myself by attempting. Yes, I've done voiceovers in my reviews for Sun Eater or in my reviews for Master of Whitestorm, and I don't think I'm a Rukin or a Preble, but man, Jeff Hayes is something else, and I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to be Princess Donut. And if I get copyrighted for it, I didn't start the booktube business to be rich. So if it happens, it happens. But I'm going to be reviewing Dungeon Crawler Carl. I recently got this Kickstarter edition. First off, love the cover. I love it more than the trad published and the self-published version. But my favorite thing about this whole edition, better than the art pieces, better than the end papers, is the back of the book. Because on the back of the book, he has 4 negative reviews of the book, which is such a baller move to play when setting this up. And this is one of the longest waits I've had for a Kickstarter book, and man, it was so worth it. It was so long that I just decided to go forward with the audiobook. I've heard such amazing stuff about Jeff Hayes' performance, and you could tell from me including it in the video that, I agree with those popular opinions of Dungeon Crawler Carl that the audiobooks are phenomenal. Jeff Hayes is the voice of Carl and Princess Donut. It's just such a blast being in the series. Do I think it is as good as everyone says? Well, it's kind of a hard question to answer outright because I've heard some people say oh, wait till you get to books 2 or 3 and then it gets really excellent, and then other people give book 1 5 stars. Book 1 was sitting at about a 4-star for me. It was not a perfect book, but it is definitely on the higher end of a lot of the self-pub books I've read. Maybe not as high as the Adan trilogy, the Sunder Nation trilogy, Sword of Kaigen, but it was definitely an excellent first entry in the series. I give it, like I said, 4 stars. The humor was excellent. The relationship between our 2 main characters, Donut and Carl, is really well done, and I really thought Carl was going to be an audience stand-in. This is something I want to shine some light on. Dungeon Crawler Carl, I don't think is talked about enough. With the premise like this whole lit RPG premise, and Carl just looking like a normal guy and getting gradually crazier in the covers, I assumed it was going to be an everyman taking on this journey. And there are aspects of the everyman in Carl's character, but they didn't go this isn't Harry Potter or Luke Skywalker. He does have more characterization than you would think this type of protagonist would have, even though yes, there are aspects of the everyman because it is a lit RPG. It's the only lit RPG I've ever read, but it felt like a satire of lit RPGs. And I don't know what other lit RPGs are like because I haven't read them, but I will say that this one worked. This book shined all the best lights on that genre. There are a few expository sections early on in the 4th or 5th chapter where it explains the gaming mechanics of the book, and it was done so in an interesting and funny way to where I was still not distanced from the book, but that was the moment that I came closest to being let me just listen to music instead. So there were parts where it was a little too much exposition on the actual mechanics of the game, but I thought the alien race that's the Borant Corporation was great. This felt to me like Borderlands, like Borderlands 2. We're talking good Borderlands before it kind of went off the deep end, or Tales from the Borderlands, the Telltale series. It's like Tales from the Borderlands meets what? What's my elevator pitch for this? What I went into this half-baked. Meets actually, I know it reminds me a lot of DC's Doom Patrol. It reminds me of that this sort of absurdism, but it still keeps you rooted in the characters. You know, the big risk with absurdism is that if you go so absurd, so bombastic, so out there, that you lose the feeling of stakes. And I've heard people say this about Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I do think it walks that line, but I think it stays firmly rooted in the characters. I do think that Carl and Donut are not as two-dimensional as I thought they'd be going into this. I think they are very well-written characters. Again, this is not a 5-star book, it's a 4-star book, but it's on the higher end of 4-star. Like, it had 5-star level enjoyment. It just had some problems with it that I couldn't give it above a 4. And I think as the series progresses, I'm hesitant to give book 1's 5 stars, because as I've seen with the Adan trilogy, with the Sunder Nation trilogy, with Sun Eater, I give book 1 pretty high on the star rating, and then book 2 is such a massive step up that I'm like, wait, was book 1 was Wavy Dan a 5 stars? And I'd say yes. Wavy Dan, Empire of Silence, to me, those are 5-star books. This is a 4-star, but I really, really, really see the series going beyond that. And in terms of enjoyment level, it is one of my top favorites of the year so far. I'd probably put it in my top 10 of the year. I'll probably do a ranking for my 6 months, top 10 books I've read in the last 6 months or something. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed Dungeon Crawler Carl. I thought the only thing where it loses me a little bit is sometimes the boss fights can feel a little formulaic, but by dropping the comedy in there, Matt Dinniman is very intelligently grabbing all the people that aren't going to be hooked by the video game mechanics. And I think that this could become a new favorite. In terms of Dresden Files, I love Dresden Files. That's a newer series I've started. I could see this eclipsing Dresden Files in my favorites list. I could see it very easily taking over Dresden or War Eternal by Rob J. Hayes. I could see it climbing that ladder with just what we've seen thus far. If this is the first in the series, I can only imagine where it keeps going. And I am so excited to read more about Carl and Donut. And spoiler alert, they're Velociraptor. And yeah, just while I want to get into spoilers real quick, I thought the Mordecai was great. Was it Claudette? It's been a while since I've read it. She was great. The other contestants we got were a ton of fun. And I just love Carl's mantra of "you will not break me." I love his character. He's so endearing. He has that the reason I brought up Dresden is he has that Harry Dresden effect where you just want to root for this guy. He's so likable, but not in an easy way, not in a way where you feel like the writer's taking the easy route to make this likable character. It comes through on the page. Carl is a very easy character to get endeared to. Same with Donut. I think that their relationship is super well done. And Donut is quickly becoming one of my favorite animal companion characters of all time. She's obviously got nothing on Night Eyes yet. Robin Hobb, Realm of the Elderlings, Night Eyes will always be the number 1 animal companion ever. And number 2 is probably Beer Mug from 5 Warrior Angels. But Princess Donut, number 3. Only 1 book in and she's number 3. That's pretty impressive. But yeah, if you've read Dungeon Crawler Carl, which honestly everyone on the internet has at this point, if you want to, drop down in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of it. And yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to be reading the second book in the series sometime this fall, school starting. So I'm trying to knock out some of the other series that I've been having queued up for a while. So, the Adan trilogy, finishing that up, and the standalone spinoff, and I want to catch up on Sun Eater, and I want to finish The Wars of Light and Shadow. So, while it may not be the highest priority, it's not the lowest. It's definitely one I want to get back to, maybe once I clear out some space, but maybe Carl's Doomsday Scenario could get read in September, maybe August, but we'll see. Anyway, peace.